How's it going with y'all? It's your boy Moshi and I'm back with another video, and this one's gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna give you guys the last set which got me to Z rank and DP ranked, because the sets that were before this one were kind of sleeper, resident sleeper, snoozer fest, a little bit boring because people just wanted to keep running the timeout DP farming, and I kept winning, and eventually we got to this set. But also another thing is that my microphone was off the entire time I was recording this, so that also was like the reason why this video is going to be different. I'm going to give you guys some story times as you guys watch this gameplay of me hitting Z rank on DP. The first story I want to start off with is the time I almost got shot. So I don't want to dox where I'm from, but where I'm from is not the most dangerous place. Where I grew up was the bricks, was the projects. However, I was also near the city, and I remember this was around the high school time, and you know, I threw on my little Stussy sweater one day, and over that, for whatever reason, I threw on a tank top thinking I was fly. And I went outside with my friends, and they were also dressed up or whatever, and we went outside to play basketball. We weren't even really doing anything too extracurricular. We were just outside playing basketball in extra edgy clothes. And so when we pulled up to the basketball court, and we were balling up for a little minute, and you know, we were having a good time, and all of a sudden I see my elementary school friend. His name was Christian. And you know, back in elementary school, I knew Christian as a somewhat decent kid. Like, I never saw him in that light of being some type of like tough guy or anything. You know, have you guys ever had that friend that you grew up with and you never seen them in that light of like being a gangster, but they grow up and all of a sudden they're in the streets and they're acting super tough all of a sudden? That was Christian. You know, I seen Christian pull up to the basketball court that day, and he had like 2 homies with him. And mind you, this is around my neighborhood. Like, I was around my neighborhood, a basketball court near where I lived, and I knew Christian to live in another neighborhood like close by. And at that time, that neighborhood had like beef with my neighborhood. But because Christian knew me and he knew I wasn't like a gangbanger of any kind, and he just had backstory with me from elementary school, he really had no smoke with me or anything like that. In fact, when I saw him, it was like really just chill, and I was like, oh, what's up, Christian, what's the word, and stuff like that. You know, we were just chopping it up. Y'all know how it is. If you're from the bricks, if you're from the hood or anything like that, if you're from any type of like poverty, then you know what I'm talking about. Like, but all right, so we were at the court, we were balling up for a little bit. Christian comes through with like 2 other people, and we're just chilling. He's acting really anxious. He's acting really scary. And it's weird because I don't understand this type of behavior from him. I don't know Christian to be this type of guy, this like super tough guy. So I'm looking at him like, well, are you okay? Like, is everything good? And he's just like, I see the ops, while sketchily looking around. Like, he's just like, I see the ops. It's the ops right there. And I'm like, what are you talking about? The ops? Where? Like, who are you talking about? I couldn't even conceive that he could have possibly had like some type of street drama going on. I couldn't conceive that, and I was putting myself in a situation where I shouldn't have intervened in. I should have let him deal with whatever beef that it was that he had to deal with. And so after that, he's just like, okay, the ops are right there. And I'm like, ops, what are you talking about? What ops? And for some reason, I'm in this guy's business asking him, what ops? I should have just been minding my business. I came outside to play basketball and dress up with my little edgy friends. And for some reason, I'm minding this guy's business. And after a few more minutes or moments of this guy just being sketchy and anxious about his ops being near, I look around and I don't see anybody like that's like op worthy or like that looks like an op. At least, I mean, I'm in my hood, you know, I don't really when I was a kid, I never really saw things that way, especially where I lived. I mean, of course, I've seen a bunch of gangbangers around where I lived. Like, there were definitely a bunch of streets that people were like acting like was an actual set in some way, which was kind of corny when I think back to it. But some of those kids were really like that and would have really done something to you if you like tried anything. So it wasn't like it was sweet. But yeah, back to the story. Christian was like, that's the ops right there. I kept barging in his business, but it seemed like he was talking to me though. So that's why I kind of was like, what ops, bro? Like, what ops are we talking about? And I got closer to him, and the more that this continued, the more he got more anxious. And before I knew it, shots rang off. And I just remember everybody scurrying off of the basketball court, super scared. Like, obviously shots rang off, everybody scurried off of the basketball court. I tried my best to run, but it felt like I was in a dream. Like, I had, you know how like in Call of Duty, how when you get shot, you kind of like lose speed and your screen gets like you hear this like little screeching sound, like, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that's kind of how that's kind of what I felt at that time. As soon as the shots rang off, I literally saw everybody scurrying off. I tried to run, but it felt like I was in a dream. I was slow-mo running, and I felt like I was just in a dream. Like, I couldn't, like there was a lot of adrenaline, and I couldn't run as fast as I wanted to, you know? And, you know, God willing, I came out of that whole situation, and we were like walking off on the street nearby, me and some of my friends. And then I had split up with the original group that I was with. I was with like 2 other friends, and one of my friends noticed that Stussy sweater that I had put on earlier that day was actually shot, and there was a hole through both the Stussy sweater and the tank top. And I was just like, wow. Like, my friend was surprised. He was like, wow, you got shot, you got grazed, dude. Like, you got grazed. Like, he was just in awe that I got grazed. I had gotten grazed right in my backside, right where my spine is at. It literally came in one side of my sweater in the backside, and then out the other side of the backside of my sweater. Like, it was like both the holes were on the back of my sweater. And then when I took my shirt off, there was a graze mark on my actual skin from the bullet. And, you know, later on, after that whole situation happened, like a few days later, word got back to one of my friends, because my friend was like really just not involved in hood stuff, but he just knew about who did what and who was where, who repped what. He kind of knew a lot of the hood guys in my neighborhood personally. So he got word about who actually let the shots off, and it turns out that it was a 15-year-old kid with a 22, a little tutu, and he was on a scooter. And I remember seeing the scooter. I remember seeing these little kids on a scooter, and I thought nothing of them. I really thought nothing of them, and I couldn't even conceive that Christian could have possibly been beefing with kids on a scooter. And my friend told me that the OG of our hood told the 15-year-old kids that he almost shot someone from our own neighborhood, being me, and that they got reprimanded for that. So yeah, that was like one of the first experiences of a YN that I've ever even had. You know, there was plenty of young, staticky young men in my childhood or in my high school days, but I think that's like the most YN Black Air Force energy that I've ever experienced. I've experienced a lot of dumb shit in the hood, you know, but that's got to be up there with the top. But, you know, Christian does actually end up passing away some years after, and I'm pretty sure it is from like gang violence. I'm not entirely sure on the details, but rest in peace to Christian. And honestly, that makes me look back and just be grateful, because in an alternate universe, I could have been a vegetable. literally. If somebody had stepped on a butterfly and caused the butterfly effect, I could have been in another alternate dimension as a vegetable right now. But yeah, honestly, Christian's story reminds me of another guy that I used to know. He used to be my weed dealer, and I don't smoke weed anymore. And I also know that it's legal over here, so I'm not incriminating myself. But this guy, this guy had some fire. He used to give me dime bags. This was the time where people would sell dimes, dubs, tray fives, things like that, just to anyone off the street. That's how they used to get the work off. And I had bought off this guy maybe like 4 or 5 times, and I bought off of him a few times, and I got to a point where I bought off of him one time and then we matched. And if you don't know what matching means, it basically means like he had weed and I had weed, and we both rolled up and smoked together. And we smoked together, and I don't even know this guy's name, bro, because that's how little I bought off of this dude. I just know he was like my best weed dealer ever when I was younger. And all I know is that when we matched and we smoked together, he like opened up a little bit to me. He was going through something. He was a little bit unresponsive, and I was wondering why, and he was kind of spilling the beans. I used to try to buy weed off of him, and he used to be just unresponsive, and he would only sell it to me every now and again. That's why I only bought a handful of times off of him. But when we matched that day, he told me a little bit into his personal life, and he actually told me that he had gotten robbed at gunpoint. Like that some people actually took his weed and like beat him up bad, and he had to kind of like recover. Like, I think that he got like pistol whipped or something. Like, he was traumatized. He was clearly going through something, which was why he actually wanted to match with me and like just have somebody to talk to. And he told me that he like had gotten robbed, and I was like, wow, dude, that's crazy. Like, you got to be careful out there, bro. Keep a gun or something. And I go off to my house with my little weed. I think nothing of it, and some months later, this guy literally dies. He dies, and it's like, I never see this guy again. And I'm pretty sure that it has something to do with violence as well. Like, it's probably the same thing. It probably had something to do with like weed and getting extorted, but this time it ended in a deadly manner. So those are kind of some stories I had when I was younger. I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. And let me know if you guys would like more content like this of me just telling stories over like any type of gameplay. As you can see, we just hit Z rank on DP in season 4. So without further ado, appreciate you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.